Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Kristen Roth. I'm an Associate Director of Admissions here at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth. And on behalf of Tuck, welcome. Our goal today is to guide you to understand how the Tuck MBA will help you develop and practice wise leadership. So what I'm going to do today is introduce you to the distinctions of the Tuck experience with a short presentation, and then we're going to get to your questions and I'll provide some answers to help you better understand Tuck. So with that, let's get started. The mission of Tuck is to educate wise leaders to better the world of business. Now, more than ever, the world is in need of principled business leaders, leaders who do well and do good, people who find success for themselves and their organizations, and who also make a positive difference and impact in the world. Key to that mission is the notion of wisdom in leadership, as I talked about. Wise leaders embody essential aptitudes of confident humility about what you know and what you don't know, about empathy towards the diverse ideas and experiences of others and being able to work across differences, judgment about when and how to take risks for the better. Tuck's unique combination of personal scale and location. We're located in an environment that's away from the distractions of a big city, in the beautiful city of Hanover, New Hampshire. This allows our students to immerse themselves in our collaborative and supportive community. And our students are provided with a platform to practice and develop these aptitudes of wise leadership. The Tuck experience, because of this, is personal, it's connected, and it's transformative. So let's talk about how Tuck will help you grow as a wise leader. First, you'll be challenged. We deliberately designed our academic experience to stretch you beyond your limits. Tuck's comprehensive first-year core curriculum provides you with a rigorous foundation in all of the essential aspects of business, both hard skills like accounting, marketing, finance, strategy, and ops, and behavioral skills like communications and leadership. In the second year, which is fully elective, you'll customize the program to meet your particular interests with a wide range of electives and the opportunity for independent study. You can further your exploration and knowledge through Tuck Centers, which offer distinctive pathways of learning in areas such as energy, entrepreneurship, healthcare, digital strategy, private equity, and the intersection of business, government, and society. The centers give you an opportunity to enhance your learning, and it provides you with opportunities to gain and apply your knowledge through fellowships, through research, through events, and through visiting executives and speakers. Now, key to that development, to your development, will be learning from our exceptional faculty. Our faculty at Tuck are world-class scholars and researchers, and they are dedicated teachers. They bring their knowledge into the classroom. That personal interaction with faculty is a distinction of learning at Tuck, and it's enhanced by our scale, our location, and our focus on the MBA. Here at Tuck, we offer one program. It's just the 2-year full-time MBA. We don't have a PhD. We don't have an undergraduate degree or a part-time degree. So all of our faculty resources and programs are focused exclusively on your learning. And we have a small student body in a place like Hanover, so you'll have more opportunities to connect with professors in and out of the classroom. A great example of this close interaction with faculty is the work that Hope and Siobhan, who are pictured here, did with Professor John Lynch. Professor Lynch is the former governor of New Hampshire, as well as a successful CEO, and he teaches one of the most popular classes on campus. So if you've talked to anybody here at Tuck, you may have heard of it. It's the CEO experience. And after taking this class, Hope and Siobhan wanted to continue their learning on leadership and studying it in a variety of different platforms and environments. So they designed an independent study with Professor Lynch and interviewed a dozen leaders from both the corporate and public sector. They talked to people like former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and former Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner. And Professor Lynch made personal introductions to all of these people. Hope and Siobhan were identified key leadership traits and that predicted success, and they collaborated with Professor Lynch on a case study on the topic. And this is a perfect example of the excitement our faculty shares. They engage closely with students, they encourage and support students, and they give generously of their time and their resources in helping you enhance your learning and understanding. Now, Hope and Siobhan's work with Professor Lynch is also a great example of the type of experiential opportunities available at Tuck, because learning at Tuck is dynamic. We have multiple opportunities for experiential learning, and that lets you take what you learn in the classroom and apply it to real-world business challenges. You'll learn to ask the right questions, you'll learn to build the right teams, and to take the right risks to create impact. For example, we have a first-year project, or FYP, and that's a required class you'll take, obviously, at the end of your first year, and you get an opportunity to put into practice learnings from the first-year core. Now, there are a lot of schools that have these type of capstone projects, but what makes ours different is the flexibility our students have and the influence you have in selecting your projects. At Tuck, you choose the project and you choose the team. You can choose a client-sponsored project or an entrepreneurial project. It can be local, national, or global. It can, you may work for a Fortune 100 company or an early stage startup. And if there's a particular industry you want to get experience with, you can do that as well, which is great for those students making a career switch. To date, our students have completed more than 700 projects throughout the United States and around the world. And some of the companies our students have worked with include companies like Under Armour, Wayfair, Ford Motor Company, PayPal, and Long Trail Brewing, just to name a few. One example of a Tuck Go FYP Go project is this past year. We had 5 first-year students who consulted for Irving Oil to research how electric vehicles are disrupting the oil and gas industry. So our Tuck team traveled first to Canada, and they met company executives there and saw the refinery process. Then they were able to go to Norway, which is the global leader in the electric vehicle market. They had the opportunity there to meet with different stakeholders to understand how they were impacted by electric vehicles and also how they adapted to the new technology. And at the end of 14 weeks, our Tuck team presented their findings and strategic recommendations to Irving's senior leadership. Other students can elect to do an entrepreneurial FYP if you'd like. If you have an idea for your own business, this is a great opportunity to test your ideas, and we've had several active businesses that got their start this way. So recently, 2 students had an idea to bring car care service directly to customers at their workplace through a mobile garage. So Ed and Russ, who you see pictured here, pitched their idea to the Dartmouth Entrepreneurial Network, and they won a founder's grant. Then they got a chance to test their ideas during the FYP with a team of other students, began a pilot program, and then officially launched the company during their 2nd year. And since their graduation, the company has expanded its operations to Boston. Now, also a key part of the Tuck experience is global learning. It's critical these days for wise leaders to have, along with confidence, humility, empathy, and judgment. It's that opportunity to have a global mindset, to successfully navigate the different cultures and economies and markets in which you'll work. Tuck facilitates this learning with Tuck Go, and that's a requirement that every student take at least one immersive experiential course in another country or region during their time at Tuck. Now, no matter what path you take to satisfy Tuck Go, you're going to have the opportunity to develop skills required to work across cultures, a better understanding of the world, and the willingness to operate outside of your comfort zone. Students may choose from a portfolio of different opportunities offered around the world to satisfy Tuck Go. Like the Irving Oil project, they can work internationally through the FYP, or you can consult in your 2nd year through the on-site global consulting elective. You can travel with a faculty member on a global insight expedition, or GIX, or you can spend a full term overseas on one of our exchange programs. Now, I mentioned the GIX. We do have many students who satisfy Tuck Go with a GIX, like the one Professor Adam Kleinbaum led in Israel on technology and entrepreneurship. So for that trip, 20 students and Professor Kleinbaum traveled in Israel for 10 days. They started in Jerusalem, where they studied Israel's political and religious history. They visited significant cultural and religious sites. And then they traveled to Tel Aviv to experience the thriving entrepreneurial and technology economy. And they had an opportunity to meet with local companies and entrepreneurs. Each student there was exposed to perspectives and experiences that encouraged them to think critically and empathetically about the broader world. Now, if you've done your homework on Tuck, you have probably heard about our close-knit community, or as we call it, the Tuck fabric. The essence of what distinguishes Tuck is that collaborative, trust-based community. In our environment, there's no self-selecting who you work with. You'll have to work across differences. And as a student, you'll be expected to contribute as much to the experience here as you get from it. You'll hear stories about how students and study groups spend hours upon hours helping each other learn material and prepare for class. Students create and nurture a closeness that's difficult to replicate here. They assist each other in the job search, even when they're applying for the same positions. They help each other study late into the night for accounting, even if they're not in the class. From living and learning together in our immersive community, our students develop a deep level of trust with each other. And when you trust your classmates, you feel able and safe to stretch yourself, to take risks, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to even fail. And that's when you're really able to learn. Over the years, our students have created a lot of traditions as well that have passed down from class to class, and they really bring the community together, like Winter Carnival, which you see a small picture of here, and where they host MBA students from other schools around the country. Late night hockey games where they cheer each other on. You'll hear about small group dinners where students and partners, faculty and staff bond in an intimate setting over a homemade meal, or when international students share their culture with the entire Tuck community at annual events like Diwali or Argentinian Asado. At Tuck, community is very much lived with intention, and that intentional community is intricately tied to Tuck's location and scale. When you come to your MBA program, you'll be stepping away from your career for 2 years, and you'll be investing an incredible amount of time and resources to obtain that MBA. And you owe it to yourself to be all in, to be fully committed to the experience and to get the most out of it. Tuck's location is free from the distractions of a big city and allows you to be all in. It really allows yourself to immerse yourself and focus on learning and developing relationships with your faculty and classmates. And because our students live on or near campus, they don't scatter when class is over. They remain together throughout the day and into the evening, working together, creating an immersive living and learning environment together. And that location fosters immersion with visiting executives as well. When they come to Tuck, they're committed to a full visit, not just give a speech and head back to the office. They stay and invest their time, and you're able to personally interact with them in small groups over lunch or dinner or in individual chats during office hours. And a great example of that is just a few weeks ago, Defense Secretary Mattis was here talking to a group of students at Dartmouth. And a small group of 5 Tuck veterans were able to sit down with him and get some personal insight from him as well, which is a fantastic opportunity. And you have opportunities like that for personal access to hundreds of business and government leaders during your time at Tuck. That access also applies to recruiters and the Career Development Office as well, because of course, a big part of your MBA is that opportunity to advance or change your career. That's part of why you come, right? And at Tuck, there's no prescribed paths. We have many students arrive here in Hanover with a clear idea of what they want to do and what industry they want to pursue when they leave. But we also have students who are interested in exploring career paths. And whether you're focused on a particular career from the day you walk in or whether you discover a path you haven't considered, our Career Development Office, as well as your classmates, faculty, and alumni, provides support and resources that you'll need to really set you on a successful path post-MBA. Our career coaches provide personal guidance in career exploration and networking. They get to know you. They provide assistance with cover letters and interviews, and they help you negotiate for job offers. And the outcomes speak for themselves. For the past several years, our graduates have benefited from high employment rates and compensation rates that are among the highest for top-tier MBA programs. And our students go into great companies, companies like Amazon and Google, Bain, BCG, and McKinsey, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and Goldman Sachs, and Barclays, General Mills, CVS, Genentech, Samsung, just to name a few. And you can see many more on our website. Now, Tuck's famously responsive alumni network plays a big part in that career success as well. The supportive community at Tuck that we talked about before doesn't end after 2 years. Tuck alums remain engaged with the school, with students, and with each other for life. This is a lifetime commitment. Tuck's network is recognized as one of the most effective and engaged among top MBA programs. Our graduates are accomplished leaders of business, government, and society, and yet, even at the highest levels, they're accessible to students. I met with a student, actually an alum, who had moved to London from New York, and she and I were talking with prospective students, and she told the story of thinking about a career switch from finance into energy. She reached out to a C-suite level alum in an top energy company, hoping that she'd hear back from him, hopefully within a short period of time. Within 24 hours, she had an email from him to his assistant saying, get me a half an hour on her schedule. I want to talk to her. That's the kind of access you get. Our alums are incredibly generous with their time. They come back to campus to share their experiences, and they take your calls, they provide advice, and help make connections. That notion of paying it forward is ingrained in the Tuck psyche. I'll give you another example. So one of our students was doing an internship with an investment bank in New York City. A managing director there, who was also a Tuck alum, took him out to lunch multiple times during the summer to discuss his experience and provide feedback to really help ensure he got a full-time job offer. Now, that was outside of the bank's formal process. It was not an expectation that this managing director would do this, but it was an example of an alum going above and beyond to help another Tuckie. Stories like this are commonplace at Tuck. This is not unusual. And the alums do this because other alums helped them in the past and would do so again in the future. It is really that paying it forward notion that's important here. So hopefully this is giving you a small taste of what makes the Tuck experience distinctive and unique. And I hope it's guided you to envision how Tuck can help you achieve your aspirations and help you better the world of business. Now, there's a lot more to learn. So I invite you to further experience our community, hopefully come connect with our students and alumni, and I strongly encourage you to visit campus and to take advantage of our open interview policy. So for more information about Tuck, connecting with Tuckies, and applying, please visit our website. I have the website address up here, which I know you've all seen because you all got to this place. Now, I want to turn it over to you to get your questions and to prepare you to submit your application to Tuck. So let's find out, what questions do you have for me? You can enter your questions in chat, and I look forward to answering them. Okay, just waiting for some questions to show up in the chat box. They should be on their way. Okay, our first question. I'm considering a career shift to the tech sector after the MBA. How can Tuck help a candidate with such career shift into the sector? Does the program include any courses that help candidates better understand the sector? Absolutely. There are lots of opportunities for students. Actually, if you want to check out the courses at Tuck, you can go to our website, which I showed earlier, and I can go back to that screen in a little bit. You can go to our website and you can actually see both the core curriculum and the elective curriculum listed there. In addition, what I do want to highlight, I mentioned briefly, but I wanted to highlight, we have research centers. And our research centers are an opportunity for you, our centers are an opportunity for you to dig deeper into areas of interest for you. Now, technology isn't, or the Center for Digital Strategies isn't just about technology, but technology certainly plays a piece with it. And so there are a lot of opportunities there as well to talk to leaders in digital strategies and the technology sector as they bring people in. We have a tech club that also helps with professional engagement as well. And then we have, as I mentioned, some of the top employers. We have a list of top employers that you can see on our website under the career section. But some of those employers are top technology companies as well. Lots of opportunities. I don't have the exact percentage for this year. It hasn't been published yet, but about 20% of our alums, graduating students last year, went out into the tech sector. So that's just a great opportunity. So, okay, the next question is Tuck welcoming to overaged applicants? I'm in my late 30s, can I apply to Tuck? Absolutely. We don't make decisions based on age. It is based on experience and why now is the right time for your MBA. So what you need to do is make a compelling case for here's where I've been, where I am now, and where I want to go. Here's why an MBA is going to help me get there, and here's why the Tuck MBA is the right one for me. It's not about anything other than your experience and how the MBA fits into it, and that you've put in the thought to understand how you can contribute and enrich our community, as well as how you can be enriched by our community. So that's part of the story you need to tell in your application, and I would encourage you to think about that and how you want to present that in your application process. So, okay. Next question, let me talk about, are there slots available to visit without interview at Tuck prior to the round 2 deadline? So it is possible to visit Tuck prior to the deadline without an interview. One of the things I would encourage you to do is to reach out to our Tuck admissions email account to see what those availabilities are. Usually we have visits without interview available in the spring term, but there can be availability beforehand. You do need to reach out specifically though, because we don't have those slots posted online. So again, if you reach out to tuck.admissions@tuck.dartmouth.edu, they'll be able to help you with that. Okay, so next question. Part of the admissions process focuses on how the applying candidate will contribute to the identity of Tuck. Having a global mindset is critical for today's leaders, including those present in the classroom. How can one utilize his or her own personal global experience in the classroom? And is this a factor that the admissions committee considers as part of candidacy assessment? That is a very complex question. So let's talk a little bit about how we assess applicants first, and then why global experience can be helpful. But not every applicant's going to have that, and so that's okay too. So first of all, we assess all of what you bring to the Tuck community and to the Tuck classroom. So we're going to look at all of your experience, your background, what you're looking to do. We'll look at, obviously, your academics and your test scores. We're going to look at your work experience. We're going to look at how you've been involved in your work community or your residential community or your university community. We are going to look at how you talk about yourself in our Essay 1, which really just asks you to say, well, how am I going to contribute? It's a great opportunity to highlight those things that you feel are important in your global experience. So that's important as well. Now, how would you add that in the classroom? It's going to vary from person to person and from class to class. But one of the things you'll get to learn is that our faculty will get to know you very well. And actually, you walk into class the first day and they've already learned a little bit about you. So if one of the cases you're looking at is an international case or may delve into areas that the faculty know you are familiar with, you may get called upon to share your insight and experience. Because the reality is you're going to learn as much from each other as you will from the faculty member in front of you. So a wide variety of global experience is really important. You can highlight it in different ways. As I said, that Essay 1 is a great place to indicate it. Your resume may indicate it. You know, we're going to look at your background and where you spent time and things like that, and that can be important. If you feel there is something that's really important to your background that somehow does not come out in that Essay 1 or Essay 2 or in your resume, you can absolutely share a little bit more about you with us in the optional essay. I will stress, though, that the optional essay is truly optional. Do not feel like you need to give us an extra essay here. And in fact, I would strongly encourage you, should you decide to add more information about yourself in the optional essay, that you use good judgment in making sure that you are not saying things that should have gone elsewhere, because you want to exercise good judgment as well. All right, so next question. Community seems to be important for Tuck. What are some ways we can demonstrate commitment to community? Employee resource groups, volunteering, etc. Yes, absolutely. I think there's a couple things that are important here. The community is important to Tuck, and it is important because people are genuinely engaged and interested and aware. And that engagement and interest can come from a variety of different places. If you like to be in a place where you're anonymous and you can kind of scoot out at the end of the class and not talk to anybody till class starts at the end of the day, Tuck may not be the right place for you. You do as much learning in the classroom as outside the classroom. And it's really important that you want to engage with people and learn about their background and experience and contribute to them. So study groups are really important at Tuck. Whether you want to get involved in professional clubs or sports-related clubs or community engagement or centers or academic opportunities. Students are what make the school work and the community work. So how can you show that? Well, what have you done in the past that has engaged in community? Maybe you've been really deep into one specific thing that's been really exciting for you. Maybe you've mentored since you were in high school. Maybe you've been really broad and you've delved into a little bit of interest here and working in a special group in your employer, an employee resource group. Or maybe you've gotten involved in a social activity or sporting activity. It may be a variety of different things. What I would say is do what makes sense for you. Do what you're passionate about, because that's what you're going to bring to us. And show us who you are outside of work or in work beyond your regularly assigned work duties. What do you do that's unique and different? Remember, though, everything is taken in context. What we want to see is that you want to be part of the Tuck community and you're ready to be part of the Tuck community. Okay, so the next question, what does the admissions committee normally look for from an interview? Well, hopefully you know our criteria. If you've been to our website, you will see that we are looking for people who are smart, nice, accomplished, and aware. And the admissions interview is part of that process. So we want to see, are you smart, nice, and accomplished, and aware? And can you articulate that? Have you shown an understanding of why you want an MBA and why Tuck will help you get there, what you're going to do, and your goals? That's partially awareness. Have you shown that you invest in others, whether that's in teams or you support others, or whether you challenge respectfully and thoughtfully? That's part of NICE. You'll also see that some of these qualities and some of these criteria we look for overlap, because there's a lot of awareness that gets to showing whether you fit the NICE criteria. Smart and accomplished, those are important too. And while we're going to see that in your test scores and your resume and your recommendations as well, the interview will help us identify all of that as well. Come prepared to tell your story. Come prepared to talk about yourself. Come prepared to also recognize that you have a limited amount of time, and so you need to talk about yourself compellingly and concisely. And this is something you can practice. I don't want you to rehearse so that you sound over-rehearsed, because hopefully you can't plan for every question we're going to ask you. But we do want people to be prepared to share their stories and tell us what they've done and how it ended up, what's the result, those kinds of things. Okay, so next question. We have a bunch of them. That's great. What's the last date for off-campus interviews for round 1? Well, we don't set an absolute date for off-campus interviews for round 1. You could be interviewed right up until the time that decisions are being made. That's pretty rare, but it can happen. We don't have hard and fast deadlines. What I will say is that the deadline for on-campus applicant-initiated interviews, there's one for every round, and then one for the first round. Let's see, I'm just going to look at the list right now. Actually was last week, October 26th. So applicant initiated interviews have already, should already have been completed for round 1. And then we're going to aim to have as many of the interviews wrapped up before December 6th, which is our deadline or our release date, as possible. There is a possibility that we could be making offers to interview up until that point. Like I said, pretty rare, but it can happen. We don't have a hard and fast date. Let's see, next question. Oh, this is a great question. My manager has never written a recommendation letter for anyone. From an admissions committee perspective, what advice do you have for inexperienced recommenders? That's a great question, because the recommendation is an important part of your application, but it's also a part of the application that you don't really touch. Doesn't mean you don't have influence, though. So I encourage you to exercise some of that influence. The first thing is feel free to share with us if, so I mentioned that optional essay, and it is truly optional, but it's a great place to share information that you think would be important for us to know. So feel free to share with us. Here's why I chose the recommenders I chose. And by the way, this recommender's never written a recommendation for anyone before, but I really felt they were the right person to talk about what I bring. So please bear that in mind as you read their recommendation. And then you sit down with your recommender to prepare them for how to write a good recommendation. Don't leave them with written material that, should they get stuck, they start to go, oh, I'll just see, they wrote it so nicely over here, I'll just use those wordings, because then it'll sound like you wrote it, which really doesn't help us at all, and will call into question whether or not you really did write it. So don't leave them with something written, but you can sit down and talk to them. Talk to them about your experience, your successes, your failures, what you've learned, how you've grown. Why you're interested in an MBA, why you're interested in TUC, what TUC's criteria are, because our recommenders are specifically asked to comment on the criteria. So smart, nice, accomplished, and aware. And where you see yourself fitting in those things, where you see yourself having worked towards those things or developed your awareness, things like that. The other thing you can highlight to your recommender is what's really helpful is not just to hear, yes, they generously invest in teams, but here's an example of how they've generously invested in teams. And really, if you help your recommenders understand the criteria and understand examples, can be some of the most powerful things that we can get from a recommendation. That can be very, very helpful. And then profusely thank them. They have spent a lot of time learning about the recommendation process, especially if they haven't done it before. And it's important to really appreciate the time that they're putting in. Okay, so more, oh, I should say also there's more advice on recommendations and actually almost everything that I'm talking about today on our website. If you go to our blog posts or other parts of the application, you can see a lot of different pieces of information. Our executive director, Luke Pena, does monthly blog posts about the admissions process and about the application. So I encourage you to read that and to use that to help inform your recommender. Okay, next question, and sorry, I have to scroll down a little bit because I can't see quite all of it. There we go. Please share some information about how the proposed H-1B changes affect employment opportunities for international students. Well, we don't really know. And obviously our career development office remains on top of things and really interested in understanding the environment. This is something that affects every U.S. business school. I don't know specifically what the proposed H-1B changes are. What I will say is that one of the best places to be, I believe, is a place like TUC, where the International Alumni Network, or the alumni network in general, and the alumni who are working internationally can really help students out, as well providing insight, advice, suggestions if you are looking to move to a country outside of your country of origin. It's a great opportunity to connect with people and to understand the landscape, to make networking connections and opportunities, to understand who is hiring, who isn't. You are known here. This is a place where that personal and connected really means something here. And so we're going to know what you're looking for. We're going to help you understand what's out there. What are the realistic barriers to getting a job in XYZ field, in XYZ industry, in XYZ country, and help you figure out how you want to handle it. It's important that every MBA applicant understand that there are going to be realities of the world that we're all dealing with. But I would say TUC there's no better place than TUC to do that, because we really will get to know you and help you understand that, so you can figure out what's a realistic, ambitious but realistic way of pursuing your goals and your careers. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any more questions at the moment. Let me share a little bit about a few things that don't come through quite so much in detail in the presentation I did, but I think are important to consider. When we talk about the community at Tuck, one of the things we talk about a lot is that the community is a very broad and wide community where it is very open and welcoming. We have people who come here from all around the world. We have people who come here with partners and families. We have people who come here, you know, not having spent a lot of time outside of their home country or region. We have people who come here from very non-traditional backgrounds. And the thing that's so lovely about Tuck is that this is a place where all of you have an opportunity to contribute. You are all welcomed from day one. And it's a great chance to build some strong connections with people who have a variety of different experiences that can help you understand and help contribute to your work and to your MBA goals. So it's an incredible place to be. And I really encourage you to consider a little bit more about what it is you want to do and how Tuck can help you. And as I said before, do check out our website. I'm going to put it back up here one more time. Do check out our website to learn a little bit more about the Tuck experience and to learn more about what we offer. You'll find more information about, so we had questions today about interviews. We had questions today about employment opportunities for international students. We had questions about recommendations and community. You can find a lot more information about all of those things online. There's also social media. You can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. So there's a lot of different opportunities to get to know a little bit more about Tuck. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate your time and the opportunity to talk to you about a place that I am so passionate about. Do connect with us. Do let us know a little bit more about what you're looking for and how we can help you learn more about how Tuck can connect you with those goals and experiences that you're looking to do. Visit our website, visit us here in Hanover, and good luck to all of you on your MBA applications and your admissions. We look forward to seeing your application in round 2 and round 3. Thank you so much. Take care.